ಹುಲಿ ಹೆಚ್ಚೆ ಬೆಗಟಗಳು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಹಸಿನಾತ ಕದರಲು ಒಡೆಯುವುದು ಹಾಲು ಸೂಕ್ಷ್ಮವಾದ ಹದ ಅದರ ಒಳೆ ಮನದ ಹದ ಅದನ್ನೆಚ್ಚರದಿ ನೋಡು ಬದುಕು ಸ್ವಗಹದದಿಂದ ಮಂಕುದೆಮ್ಮ. Milk, when overheated, results in a smoky flavor. Not boiling it enough retains the raw taste. Shaking it leads to curdling. The balance with which one should treat the milk is very delicate. So is the nature of the mind, which is more sensitive than the milk. Pay careful attention to it. Life is bliss when the mind is balanced. So says DVG, the Indian poet and philosopher. Respected dignitaries, audience, and my dear colleagues, on behalf of the Department of Psychiatry, Ramaiah Medical College and Hospitals, I deem it my privilege to extend a very good afternoon and a warm welcome to all of you. We're gathered here today to be a part of the World Mental Health Day, with this year's theme being Make Mental Health and Well-being for All a Global Priority. All people deserve the opportunity to live healthy, rewarding lives. We believe that no individual should have their quality of life compromised just because they do not have mental health support that they need to sustain themselves. Through the course of today's program, let us reaffirm our belief that mental health is an essential part of overall health. And together, let us renew our commitment to supporting and empowering individuals to seek the care that they need. As we commence today's program, I request the following dignitaries to kindly take their seats on the dais. Mr. Anup Sridhar, retired badminton player, Olympian and Arjuna Awardee. Principal MD, Ramaiah Medical College. Dr. P. Murli, Professor and Head, Department of Psychiatry, Ramaiah Medical College. Yes, please rise for the Ramaiah anthem, following which I request the dignitaries on the day to water the plant and take care of the program. It's now my pleasure to invite Dr. T. Murli, Professor and HOD, Department of Psychiatry, to deliver the welcome address.
Good afternoon, all. Respected Principal Sally Devi, Chief Guest, Anup Sridhar, all the invited participants, distinguished members of faculty, students. It's an important day. October 10th actually is the World Mental Health Day, which has been started in 1983 by the World Federation of Mental Health. At that time, there were no themes. Subsequently, the WMH is associated with the WHO, and every year there used to be a theme. And as all of you have seen the theme, make mental health and well-being for all a global priority. We have been talking about this global priority over a period of time on mental health. Probably the first time this has been addressed in a big way was the 2001 World Mental Health Report. Again, edited by one of our famous psychiatrists from India, Professor Srinivasa from Finance. He was at that time in WHO. Now, what is important is that mental health is important. It's not mental illness. Now, before getting into the main work which has been assigned to me, I would like to bring it to your notice. This year, October 10, World Health Organization's observation of Mental Health Day was Sir Graham Thornikoff, who is a professor in psychiatry in Institute of Psychiatry, London. He had done a small study of asking school students between 14 and 15 years, what do you call for behavior of your friends whom you do not like? Or what are the words you use for so-called mental illness? So a large number of words came in a simple study, and that come in the Lancet Commission. And basically, to reduce the stigma, we use common terms like nuts, has gone crazy, or is disturbed. See, these are words which we commonly use, and majority of the thing in the Lancet Commission has mentioned that it is the issue of the media, and one of the major culprit is the movies. Nowhere mental illness has been depicted in a normal sense. One of the best movies I have ever seen about mental illness is one who the Procousness as well as Beautiful Mind. Even in both these things, there are some issues which should be seen. Now, coming to our today, it's a great occasion on this day that we are having our chief guest, Mr. Anup Sridhar, who is an internationally known shuttle player while he was playing. Now, when he says retired, I do not think any shuttle player retires. Am I right? So, usually the shuttle players keep on playing. Because when I told him that I was playing till about 57 years, he said, I'm planning to further improve your game. So that's the way it goes. Now, very, very important is that why he became an international player. Does mental health has any effect on that or any impact? Can any of you think about that? It is there. Unless you are having a sound mind, you are not going to be the world #1. I'm just mentioning him that few of the shuttle players whom I know also currently doing extremely well. And our college also, the women's team is runner-up for 2022 shuttle, intercollegiate shuttle. And so we have a significance in inviting Sri Anup Sridhar for our mental health day, because I was also suggesting him, why can't we also develop a sports mental health in the university as a special course where people can be invited, which I'm sure Madam will take up the thing and associate with his academy. So we have an important commitment with him also by inviting him, and he also has a commitment to us. So with all this, I'm very happy to welcome on behalf of all of us, and our department is organizing it with hard work of Yuvasha and team. Most welcome, sir, to our group. Whenever we ask about a program, there's always smiling face. Can any of you tell me? Yes. Whenever there is any issue, it's a smiling face. I don't think that smiling face is so. She's determined to do things, and I feel that that is something very, very important to continue certain programs which we initiate. And Madam, it's a great opportunity to give to the department to have the mental health day observation, even though not on 10th, and at least we are doing it in the same month. So most welcome to our program. I would like to welcome all the professors who are sitting here, and not going to name all of them. And similarly, all the students from different institutions as well as medical college and our team. And I'm extremely thankful for coming for this program. And I thank all the participants of the various programs related to the mental health, which all of you are going to see. And winners of the programs, whom we are going to give this certificate. Thank you, all of you. Even though it's a welcome and hearty welcome to attend this program. We are also very happy. I also welcome all our department colleagues who have put in such a large effort to make this program successful. Even though this program is small, you can see that it needs a lot of requirement. Because I know that even to take a short telefilm of 12 minutes, it may take about 2 days' time, only for shooting. So thank you very much for doing all these things and giving an opportunity to be there to welcome the dignitaries. And once again, welcome all of you for this wonderful program. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It's such a bright start to the event. I now request Dr. Akira, our junior resident, to take us through the concept of Mental Health Day and to introduce us to the team.
Good evening, everyone. It's my privilege to stand here before all of you today and speak a few words about what today's celebration is all about. So as we all know, we are gathered here to celebrate the World Mental Health Day. What is this World Mental Health Day? How did it start? So it all goes back to the year 1992. As Sir mentioned, there was an organization called World Federation of Mental Health. This organization was started in 1948. And since then, they have been striving hard, trying to create awareness about mental health among all the nations of the world. So in 1992, under the leadership of Mr. Richard Hunter, who was their Deputy Secretary General at that time, they decided that we need a day every year to help us create awareness and promote mental health in general. The concept of Mental Health Day came into being. So the date was finalized as October 10th, and it was approved by the World Health Organization. And since then, World Mental Health Day has been celebrated every year. So this was in 1992. In 1994, they started having a specific theme for every year. So the first theme was improving the quality of mental health services throughout the world. And over the time, the themes have changed a lot. So women, children, health, work, trauma, suicide, and so many more topics became a part of this conversation. And today, the average citizen is much more knowledgeable regarding mental health thanks to their efforts. So we have come a long way from the 90s, agreed. We are more self-aware, we are more sensitive, we are more accepting of the concept of mental health in general. And as you mentioned, our language has also evolved. So we started with terms like lunacy and madness and insanity, and now we have moved on to way more respectful terms, neutral terms. But in spite of all this, there is still a lot of lack of awareness amongst the public and also among our own medical fraternity. And this has to be addressed, and that is why we're still celebrating this mental health day. So I mentioned that mental health day is celebrated on October 10th. You all must be wondering, today is October 27th. Why are we gathered here today? So it doesn't matter, because the entire idea is to create awareness, to promote the concept of mental health. The date isn't important. What we are gathered here to do today is exactly that. We are gathered here to promote the idea of mental health and to create some amount of awareness. And that is according to this year's theme, which is make mental health and well-being for all a global priority. And this program is a step in that same direction. So with that, I would like to end this very brief introduction. Thank you.
Thank you. I now feel my privilege to request our Honorable Principal and Dean, Dr. Shalini Sinoi, to address the gathering.
Wishing you all a very pleasant afternoon. It is said that health does not come only in packets of medicine or tablets or liquid preparations. Health comes with what comes within our bodies, within our minds. That is the peace of mind, or being able to be at peace with the environment around you, with the people around you. So this is what mental health is about. It is also said that 1 in 8 people in the world have some kind of mental issues. It need not be, we shouldn't jump to conclusions that it is only depression. Some minor mental health issues like anxiety disorders, obsessive compulsive disorders, or even depression. And this has been, it has increased much more during the COVID pandemic. In fact, we did a study during that time among young people, 16 to 24 years of age, and we found that a large majority of them had some kind of depressive disorder or anxiety and stress disorder. This has been published in the Indian Journal of, I think it was Mental Health, Indian Journal of Mental Health. So if you'd like to have a look, please look at that article. And it gives us good insights into the mental health status of young people during the pandemic. This said, I just want to also say that mental health affects each and every one of us. At some time or the other, we may not be at equanimity with the environment and the people around us. So this observation of Mental Health Day applies to each and every one of us. So I thank the Department of Psychiatry, Dr. Murli, Dr. Virupaksha, and the whole team for organizing this program and making the medical fraternity aware of. I'm also very grateful to Mr. Anup Sridhar for having accepted our invitation. It is said that the health of the mind is very important while playing games, especially competitive games. A person has to be mentally very strong, especially when there are points, the final points, and so on. So, and as students for having taken such interest in organizing this and taking part in all our competitions. So thank you all.
Thank you all for those wonderful words and for your constant support in helping the organization shine always and allowing us to be the best at what we are always. Ladies and gentlemen, we now move on to the most important part of the evening, the much awaited part, the address by Shri Anup Sridhar. But before that happens, I would like Dr. Mayura to give us a brief introduction about him.
We are delighted to welcome Mr. Anup Sridhar, our chief guest for today. A lot of you probably already know him. He is a former national and international badminton player from our very own Bangalore. He represented the country for over 10 years, training under Prakash Padapune and at Gopichand Academy in Hyderabad, amongst many others. His playing achievements include winning the National Men's Single Champion 2005-2006, bronze medal at the Commonwealth Games 2006 in Melbourne. He participated in the Beijing Olympics in 2008. He's an Arjuna Awardee in 2008, Ekalavya Award in 2004. He won 5 gold medals in men's singles in badminton, the Badminton World Federation certified international tournaments. And his achievements as a coach. He's a coach to the Indian team for Canada and US Open, the Indian team coach for Sydney Super Series 2018. He's the head coach of Awardee Warriors in the PBL for 5 years. And he's the founder and chief coach of Anup Sridhar Badminton Academy, whose players have won 17 medals in international tournaments in the last 4 years. So welcome, sir, and we please let you come. Yes.
Good evening, everybody. So right at the start, I'd like to just say it's a huge honor and a privilege to be able to speak here. I started playing badminton a very long time ago, and I'm sure if I told my dad that then that at some point I'll be in Ramaiah College, first university now. After seeing my 10th standard marks, he would have said, "You're joking, no way." But somehow or the other, I found my way. So I started playing badminton, like I said, about 30 years ago. At the State Youth Center on the Budanga Road, there were 35 players then, and just one badminton court, and we all had to find a way to make it work. It was nothing like it is today, where there are plenty of courts, plenty of coaches, a lot of academies. So, being a sportsman, and especially an individual in an individual sport like badminton and even singles at that, you win because of yourself, and you also have only yourself to blame if you lose. There have been some very a lot of ups and downs, some really heartbreaking lows, some unbelievable highs. I don't think we'll have enough time to go through all of them. But a lot of the time you feel like it's the end of the world after a bad loss. There would be a tournament or a match that I've spent a lot of time, many years preparing for, and when you see something, you typically visualize what you want to see happen in a match for several weeks, a few months before a match. And if it doesn't turn out that way, it's very hard to sort of accept and to actually move on. So what I'd like to do is just very quickly share 2 stories from my career with all of you. At the end, my sort of takeaways from the 2 stories. I think at the end we might have a little bit of Q&A. So the first story I'd like to share with you is actually my own. I qualified, like it was mentioned before, for the 2008 Beijing Olympics by 31st March 2008. The final list of participants for the Olympics typically comes out. I decided, obviously, like anybody would, that I will go absolutely all out in my preparation for the Olympics. I hired a personal coach. He is an Indian origin, British citizen. He had a place in Bangalore, and I even moved in with him for about 3 months prior to the Olympics, so that I had absolutely no distractions. At home, my parents were just so happy that I qualified, and we would have guests come over, and my mom would keep forcing me to eat sweet after sweet. So I thought let's avoid all of that. So I even moved to my coach's place. Luckily, he was okay with it. I trained extremely hard, harder than I've ever trained in my life. I got to my absolute physical fitness peak. I was playing really well, and just about to leave to Beijing. I actually slipped on a little bit of my own sweat on the court, and I broke two of my right ankle ligaments. So here actually I can speak very freely because all of you understand far more than me about medical issues. So I had a grade 2.5 tear in I don't know the full form, but it is the ATFL and the CFL ligaments. I just remember that. So it was extremely painful. As you can imagine, within a couple of minutes, my ankle swelled up to like 3 times its normal size, and I thought I was done for. Only like in a couple of days, I was able to start walking again, and I had to leave in 6 days. I found out from the International Olympic Committee that if I withdraw, it wouldn't be another Indian that actually gets to go in. There's a lucky draw system for last minute withdrawals, and it was apparently going to be a German that got into the draw. So I said, to hell with that, I'm going to go and play anyway. So I had 4 cortisone shots in my ankle to be able to play. I had tape right from my foot up to my knee. And I actually played all right at the event. But again, like I said, for over 6 months prior to the Olympics, I visualized myself playing well. Of course, like anybody else, I visualized myself winning a medal. I knew the draw beforehand. I knew who I was going to play against. I ended up losing the second round to a Japanese player, who I had just beaten in March that year. But obviously all of this happened, and the part of the story I want to actually share with you was obviously when I had my injury, I thought this is it. I don't know how to show my face anywhere. Again, I don't know how I'll recover from it. And like I said, I was staying in my coach's house. And a friend happened to call me. This was still about 4 or 5 days before leaving. A friend happened to call me and said, we're all going out to this club. Then why don't you join us? I'm not very big on going out at all, but my coach pushed me to just get out. So I have a sort of change of environment, maybe get a little bit of positivity in. And it just so happened that when I went out that night, I met who is my wife today. I happened to meet her. A mutual friend, and of course, I have we have a 6-year-old son, and I wouldn't trade any number of Olympic medals for what ended up happening because of my injury. It's absolutely the best part of my life. They're the best people in my life, and so I suppose it goes to show that from the worst possible thing, the best possible thing can even come out of it. The story I just want to share is actually of my former coach Gopi Chand. A little bit similar, but there's no injury in that case. He qualified and played the 2000 Sydney Olympics. I know Gopi, and I've inherited and I've learned from him. I've inherited a lot of this work ethic from him. When there's anything to do with representing the country, you go literally all out. You're ready to do whatever it takes. And he did the same. I was 17 then in 2000, and I remember seeing him train, and I'd never seen anybody work that hard and through so much of pain and all of that. He happened to go through to the second round, and once again lost to a player who he had beaten 3 times that year. This was mid-September, and similar to how I felt straight after losing. I remember that it was almost 3 months before he could even find the energy, the motivation to pick up a badminton racket again. I think it was. It's very difficult to describe how you feel when you lose at the Olympics. You feel like you've let your entire country down. Every decision you've taken in your life has been wrong until then, and you feel really terrible. So I knew obviously much later what he was going through. But all of that work that he had put in, it didn't go waste. Yes, it took him almost 3 months to pick up the racket again. He trained for a couple of months in Jan and Feb. Last week of Feb, he went to Europe to play the German Open first. He lost in the quarterfinal round there. And in the following week, he won the men's singles at the All England Open Championships. only the second Indian that has ever done that. It's the Wimbledon of our sport. And, my sort of takeaways from this and basically my journey over the last 30 years is, I'm sure all of you have done it already, but when it comes to, I don't know, picking your specialization or as I'm learning today, super specialization and things like that, find what you really love to do. I think it's a generic cliched saying, but find what you love to do. Work won't feel like work then. And however bad a day, an event, an exam, or whatever it is you've had, please remember, tomorrow is a new day, new possibilities, and like from my examples, the best things in life can come out sometimes of the worst events in your life as well. It's sometimes hard to believe, but it really works, that way. I'm an example of it myself. That's pretty much all I want to share from my end as far as I don't know what I'm going to speak, but as I understand it, there's a few questions that potentially I can answer. And it certainly doesn't have to be badminton related.
Yeah. I'm last from 30 years. So when you were telling about why we like in our life we go to events where it's heartbreaking or not heartbreaking. It's like it's the end of the world.
Correct.
So at that time, is it better to take some step or maybe just survive through the event, we'll get stronger, right? The same event can't affect us again. So is it better to take help or not?
I mean, at least personally, I don't know that the same event won't affect you, because it did. I mean, I've had several losses and several lows in my career. I was fortunate enough to have Prakash sir for me. He was pretty much my counselor actually. Any issue I had, whether on the court or off it, badminton related or not, I just go and sort of dump it on him. And I mean, he's obviously been through everything himself in my field. So nowadays, you have a lot of knowledge and availability of counselors and things like that. And another thing I'd certainly like to share is, when I made the shift from player to coach, it's a completely different mindset, you have to have. When you're playing, and especially singles, you're pretty much worried only about yourself. It can make you a little bit selfish in some aspects. And as a coach, it's exactly the other way. I have 65 students right now who have a different issue each day, and I have a lot of stuff on them. So a few years ago, I found my motivation to work reducing quite rapidly, and I sought a little bit of help actually from a counselor. And the only feeling I came away with was, why didn't I do this 15 years ago? So I would certainly say, if you can talk to somebody, please talk to somebody. It's the best thing.
Hello, sir. I'm Shivani. I wanted to ask you if you ever had like moments of self-doubt when you were pursuing your career in badminton, and if so, like what pushed you to keep going?
So yeah, I mean, self-doubt is almost inevitable actually. Unless you're Federer, I think everybody has everybody has doubts. So I think it's a little bit similar to how do you deal with that when you go through it. I think it's a little bit similar to how you guys deal with it. If you've studied hard, if you've prepared well for an exam, I think you feel less nervous, less sort of butterflies in the stomach, and things like that. And very similar in sport. If I trained hard, if I was honest about where I was weak at, and I'd worked at it and gotten better, of course I found that it was not very. I wasn't very nervous for anything other than a match. But the larger issue of the choice of career itself, sometimes, I mean, you take all the help that you can get, from your parents, from your teachers, from whoever you consider a mentor. Once you've got their sort of endorsement that what you're doing is right, then just be to some extent a little, like almost a little bullheaded. Just be extremely stubborn. I was extremely stubborn. In fact, what I'm telling you, I didn't do enough of. No, I didn't seek my parents' advice enough. I wish I had. But at some point, if you are very sure that you found what you love doing, then just be extremely stubborn, very bullheaded about it, and just, everything that you have, put it into that field. It might not be immediate, but you will find success in it. That's almost a guarantee.
Thank you, sir, for such an edifying speech with those inspiring words. I think you've answered a lot of questions that all of us had.
If I can just say one last thing.
Please.
Both over the last couple of years with COVID, I think the entire world has realized how unbelievable you guys are, your entire medical community. From the rest of the civilian community, I just basically like to say a very, very big thank you. We're extremely grateful. And we will not use Google before we come to see you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. May I now request our beloved principal to offer a token of gratitude to our chief guest? Is there To celebrate World Mental Health Day, Ramaiah Medical College have organized competitions in art, poetry, and essay writing for the students as well as the faculty. I now request Ms. Madiha, member of the student committee, to announce the prizes for the same.
We had so many wonderful entries, and choosing just 3 winners was not easy. All participants have done so well and so beautifully portrayed their impression on mental health. As a token of appreciation for sharing their work, all participants will be getting certificates. I would also like to thank our judges, Dr. Sandeep Reddy and Dr. Megha Reddy from the Department of General Medicine for judging art entries, Dr. Samya from the Department of Ophthalmology, and Dr. Somshekar from the Department of Pediatrics for judging poetry. Chitra from the Department of Endocrinology, and Dr. Hari Prasad from the Department of Emergency Medicine for judging essays. Thank you all so much for taking part, and congratulations to all the winners. I now request our chief guest, Mr. Anup Sridhar, please hand over the prizes and certificates to the winners. Our first prize winner is Jayashri R. In second place, we have Dr. Priyanka. Dr. Yogi. Next essay, in first place, we have Dr. Akila. Anup Sridhar. Third grade, Chandan K. Poetry, first grade, Karthik Yadavati. Second grade, Divyanshi. And third grade, Dr. Lehna.
If anyone has not come, I keep this.
Yeah, we'll give you.
Request all the judges to come. For a small token of trust.
Okay.
Dr. Megha. The town.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Manira. Ladies and gentlemen, with this, we now come to the end of today's program. An event of such magnitude would not have been possible without the efforts of a lot of individuals, and it's our pleasure to acknowledge the contribution of each one of them. I now request Dr. Wilbakshi Jalihal, Associate Professor, Department of Psychiatry, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Madam.
Everyone. Last but not the least important part of any program, acknowledging people in the program what to do. I'm here to thank all of them. Begin by thanking our chairman, Jairam, is supported these initiatives. And I thank our chief guest for the day, Anup Sridhar, known badminton player, for his inspiring speech and anecdote from our principal, thanking me for encouraging words and supporting the program. Thank our team on mental health day and why it is important. Thank our organizing secretary, Paksha HS, Thank other speakers today, including our PGs, Dr. Akhila, Mayura, and Madiha, to introduce the chief guest, the guests, the judges, and the participants. So, there's nothing like a great master of ceremonies who kind of takes it all together. So a big thank you to Ms. Harshita. Thank all the participants, because without you, the program wouldn't have been nothing. So whoever participated, whether you won or lost, it's important to participate. Thank you all. Thank the technical support team, Ravi and Mamsa. Thank you very much. Thank all the audience, because whatever is done, it's done for you. Hope there was something that you could take, and thank you for making it an interactive thing. And thank you all for being here. And thank God for the small refreshment awaits you outside. Please join us for our night. Thank you.
Not enough. For all the other participants, the participant certificate is here because it's possible.